All right, I'll call this meeting to order at 5:30. First item on the agenda is the board appointments. First board appointment.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Kathy Pyle. I'm here to request appointment to the downtown DDA. Not sure what I need to do with this one.
So just, why do you want to serve? Okay, the committee, I did read your, application. All of that, you just want to give us a little, info about who you are.
Sure, most definitely.
Serve on the DDA.
I'm actually a resident of South Haven. I've been in South Haven all my life. I served on many committees and different, I've chaired the Harbor Commission there for many years. Actually was just reappointed last month for another term as the chair. I've chaired the National Blueberry Festival in South Haven for a number of years. I've worked for South Haven Public Schools, was their business manager, so I'm very fluent on knowing cost, budgets, things like that. And the reason I am here is because I actually, I work for Noble, the VP of Operations here. And the reason we came into the city is so that we could help the city expand, grow, and develop the downtown area. And that was one of the reasons we chose that. So therefore, I'm here to bring my expertise, my vision of looking at what South Haven has done as well, because at one time we were a very small community and didn't have a lot of, foot traffic and things downtown, the DDA there. When my husband and I owned our business in downtown, we were part of the DDA and we helped expand, bring events and different things. And it really did help the community grow. And the DDA there is very prominent in the community where they do help a lot. So I'm looking at bringing that expertise, knowledge, and insight into Benton Harbor.
I like your background, and I think you have some great experience. I think it would be great to lead some businesses or help them or give them guidance. So I'm excited you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I will recommend that we move this appointment to the full board and it'll be voted up or down at our next commission meeting on Monday, August 7th.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Next appointment is to the Delaware Board, Mr. Jim Jackson.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Daryl Jackson. I'm a Ben Harbor resident. I currently serve on the cemetery board, and I used to serve on the construction board of appeals. The reason why I like to be elected to this Delaware board because, like my previous board appointment, I help make decisions. I want to make a difference in this community. I'd like to see Delaware move forward to better things. Because Delaware, with that system, thousands of people depends on Delaware. And I have the ability to work with people like I do on the board. So if I'm elected on this board, I will give you my best. I will make sure I give you an accurate report whenever you need it. I'll make sure that if any complaints is brought to me, I will go to the right authority, to make sure that we can get that stuff solved. My job will not be to discipline the employees or whatever they do. That's up to whatever director we have. My job will be directly question to the director, not the employees.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. That was going to be one of my questions, because just, with some of the recent things that we've been dealing with the Delaware board, in terms of people crossing over into management, just making sure that people understand that they have a role to guide and to give a vision for what's supposed to happen with Dollar Ride. But we do have, employees in those roles to lead and that kind of thing. And so, thank you for expressing those sentiments. Discussing on that.
Very well.
So looking here, you said you have good people skills and you can bring people together. So I think those would be some good qualities to bring to the Dollar Ride Board. So thank you for applying and being interested.
Thank you.
I will make the recommendation that we send your appointment to the full body, and again, on Monday, August the 7th, the commission will vote this up and down.
I think.
All right. Oh, Mr. Jackson, before you leave, you say you serve on the cemetery board. Will this conflict anyway with that particular service serving on more than one board? You'll be able to do both of those boards just service by serving on both of them at the same time.
Yes, Commissioner Henderson, I'm retired now.
Okay, all right. All right. So no work interference with the
No,
schedule?
no.
Or-
No, no.
No, no. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Next appointment, Ms. Ivy Chandler, I don't see her here. The next appointment is to the library board, Ms. Deidre Fields. Good afternoon, how are you? Good, how are you? All right. Saw your application and so you've got a lot of service going on in the city of Glen Harbor. So why do you want to serve on the library board?
Well, one of the biggest things for me is education, right? And then one of the components of my total wellness business is actually intellectual wellness that happens as a result of reading, writing, which starts primarily in the library. It was like my outlet growing up. That's where I would sit in the front corner, and actually I was reading the romance novels that it wasn't really age appropriate at the time, right? Because it's the little 1800s and different things of that nature, but you learn capacity, you learn about life, you learn about others. And so just connecting different people and events. I just had a authors awareness event in there last week, Thursday, and the purpose was to bring people to the library, to engage in the library.
And I know you serve on
DEA.
DDA. So with that particular board, I know they meet a couple different times. Have you been able to balance that board? Because I also see another appointment on here for public safety. And my only concern is if you're going to serve on the board, that being present. I think we have 4 people that sit on this board, one of which I think we will probably end up replacing. But being able to attend the meetings, because the citizen representation on the boards are highly, highly important, because that's why we vote to support citizen representation. So with that being said, how will you be able to maintain being able to serve on 3 different boards at the same time with all of those different meetings happening? And how has attendance and stuff been for those other boards?
Well, as you know, I be a lot of places, right? So it's about priorities, right? And I don't actually know when offhand the meetings are. I know when I look it up, I did, you know what I mean? But actually I just, they're not the same day, they're not the same time. So anything that I would have that was more of a miscellaneous involvement, just being that I'm always involved, it wouldn't take precedence of being on board and attending board meetings.
So my other question is, because I do know you serve on a different board, how has attendance been at the other boards?
Oh, it's been great. Like, right. I've been more than knowing more than.
More than, what does that mean, Ms. Fields?
That means I'm present.
I'm asking,
That means
and I'm
I'm
asking
present.
because I don't
That means
think we've
I'm
asked enough questions when we're asking people to
No,
serve. We
it's
want
fine.
people to serve, so.
And what I'm saying is like, okay, so I'm present, I'm involved, you can, the president is here.
Okay.
But I'm present, and like I said, I'm involved, I'm actually, even hosting an event in relation to my connection with, the DDA, but yeah, I'm present at the meetings. And I would say like 95%.
I ain't gonna ask, cause I'm asking you, but I don't wanna.
So my comment is, wow. I love the passion you have for the community. And I think you'll be great. So I'm excited to see you join, to see what new things you'll bring.
And again, all of these appointments will go before, the larger commission on August the 7th. And so they'll, on that day, they'll be voted, yes or no. And then the next appointment while we have you sitting here is to the public safety. Why do you want to serve, public safety?
And that is like similar to, the same thing as library. So like Hull Park was my park growing up, so through the different renovations, I know every so many years, it would be like the basketball court, a painting process, replacing the merry-go-round, and just to have, a role in our parks and being able to engage the community. And I feel like I have a very great connection with the community in that regard. Because I'm always asked about like, well, I know you're around here involved in stuff. Do you know anything about parks? And I know there's a fee and so I give them the basic information just because that's all I have technically. And so being able to be a part of it would help me be, an ambassador for in regards to even maintenance and telling them about the importance, because this is why this is in place and this is why that is in place and this is your responsibility, because I'm all about that full circle. So it's not so much as, oh, what are they doing, but what are we doing? And once I know more, and then again, I love the parks. I know, think about, I don't remember how long ago it was with Stephanie when they first started doing this like beautification. They had a really big event at Liberty talking about like revitalization. And so I'm always concerned with where even not so much as only the youth, but where our older people go. Like my dad played ball and his brothers in the parks, so they had little leagues of their own and different things of that nature because they would have their own park or their own area to go to. And like I said, I actually fully support the deposits, right? Just because it is their responsibility. So, but still then having clean parks. So, and then empowering people too. Because I'm like, well, maybe you guys can do a cleanup, but I was like, wait, I don't know if we can technically. And so we need to learn all those different things. So again, once I know more, I can actually advocate on both ends.
All right, again, send these, committee appointments to the full body and on August the 7th, we'll find out either way.
Okay, thank you.
That is the end of public safety.
I
I know, go ahead.
So you gotta come spend an hour with me. We wanted to hear about public safety too, because public safety
Oh,
and
okay.
recreation.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Trying to go to police academy, so that's.
Right.
It would be, but it still could be done.
So you got your things on parks, choice support. What are your thoughts on public safety, fire? That's the kind of majority of information that comes for us, for you, for consideration. So what are your thoughts on that?
I actually appreciate public safety and especially like the accountability with upkeep and things of that nature. However, again, I don't necessarily know how, I would say the right on at one point, but how such things happen like enforcement, how we can actually have some collaboration with the community, right? So that see something, say something. Process, which is like huge to me, but I think that I'll have like different insight in regards to some connections with the community, just because you guys are still separate, you're still gonna always be the police, right? And that's another reason I don't want to be a police officer, so I can just say, hey, they're good people, you need to work with them, you know what I mean? And foster that, because it's not that hard, and then I know that you guys don't have time to say, okay, let's have a meeting, or what would they want, where I can actually play a part in it. Right, if you want me to, if you want polls or some kind of like community events. I know one of the things I wanted to have was an activity where it's our public safety, not so much as everybody else, at the national level, but the police, right? So maybe just being available a couple times a year to just ask questions, right? or for us to end up giving that feedback that the residents want in regards to what's, what absolutely are your bigger goals? Like, so I know certain times of the year, this may be a bigger goal. Sometimes, another time of the year, this may be a bigger issue that you're trying to combat. And so I know one of the things with residents is that they feel like they have a role in it, that they have a stake in it, as if, okay, where they feel like, I can be a part of this. I really want the neighborhood to watch it. That's like YouTube, the block us, all those different things. And I think that will be a really big partnership with police because, that's the whole, we are all working for the same purpose, which is safety, accountability.
So, I already knew that, I just wanted to put it out there, because you are gonna be a great benefit to help us with things you just said, the block road, turn your back, neighborhood watches. I know you're well connected, very vibrant and energetic, I love you, so I look forward to working with you.
Now,
Thank you for answering all of the questions. Next item on the agenda, I'm not sure if it's you, city manager, that's presenting this, or Mr. Wilson. To set the, public hearing for August 21st. We've been into the downtown, authority.
Oh, Mark.
Mark.
You wanna come on?
Madam Chair, members, my name is Mark Florian. I serve as advisor to the Benton Harbor Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. I believe that the matter before you tonight is to consider advancing the authority's recommendation for the inclusion of a couple of properties located on Territorial and 4th Street, the former American Laundry site. For those of you who've been around here for a long time, you remember when it was a laundry operation. The Brownfield Authority would like to incorporate those properties in its brownfield plan, in the city's brownfield plan, so that it could avail itself and the developer could avail itself to potential funding opportunities that are out there, whether they are local, state, or federal level opportunities. So the process for doing so is that the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority creates a plan, which I believe was included within your package, or at least a summary was included. They review that plan, and then they decide whether they're going to recommend it for approval. In this particular case, they have recommended it for approval, and that's what brings it to your agenda here today. The next step, of course, would be for you to consider recommending it for advancement to the full city commission, wherein a public hearing has to be held, and the taxing jurisdictions need to be notified of this potential plan approval. Be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Does anybody have any questions about this particular? I don't have any vote, vote to send this, to our, for the August 21st to have a, public hearing about those properties.
Thank you very much.
No question. Just give me, Mark. Commissioner.
Let me try to get an understanding. Brownfield has one parcel of this property, and he wants to add 2 more.
Madam Chair, Commissioner, there are 2 contiguous properties. One is the property on which the American Laundry site was originally located. It still has a dilapidated building structure on it. The other property contiguous to the north is a vacant parcel right now. The investigations that have been performed of this area by EPA and Eagle indicate that contamination from the American Laundry site has also migrated beneath the vacant property to the north. Hence, we'd like to include both of these properties in the plan.
So the purpose is the actual cleanup.
So that it could avail itself to potential cleanup dollars. Yes, ma'am.
Will it lead to cleanup? If it's contaminated, will us amending this, will it lead to cleanup? Because that site's been there for a long time, several owners. And so my thought is, through the chair, is that site gonna get cleaned up now? Now Brownfield is that kind of organization, so I would say that should be a criteria. you clean it up.
Madam Chair, Commissioner, this is a first step to getting toward a cleanup, or at least a reuse scenario, so that property could be brought back into use, back into the economy, and so that the users of the property and the occupants of the surrounding properties can be protected from the contaminants that are known to be there. That's a long-winded way of saying, in order to reuse the property, some form of cleanup would have to take place. And being in a plan such as this with the Brownfield Authority will help facilitate that cleanup. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions that anyone wants to ask before we? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This item will be moved to the. Next item on the agenda is public safety. First item, chapter 7, ambulance service.
Can I, just sort of, real quickly, so very quick. We had back in, May 1st, we discussed, reestablishment of construction board of appeals. Can that, with your permission, come back on for next month's agenda? We need to get moving on that. That's the clerk. Madam Clerk, have we, is that posted? Have we got any applications? Have we got anything on that?
No.
Okay. So we're gonna try to get that board filled. We have to have that. And if we don't get it filled, until maybe something in place until we get that board filled. So that's okay. Next month.
Mhm.
Here.
Got it. Yep.
How many members?
7,
Seven.
right?
So
8,
so we're gonna verify.
2, 4, 6, 7 or 9, I think. The Construction Board of Appeals, 7 or 9. Yeah, so 7, yeah.
Okay. So we'll come back, hopefully have something, we'll move in some traction. That being said, you know, to Marshall Catholic for chapter 7, 17.
Madam Chair, as we were actually reviewing the ordinances, we was question that we stumbled upon some issues in chapter 7, 11, and 17. Chapter 7, ambulance service, to me seems, and I do serve as the representative to medical ambulance from the city of Benton Harbor, seems very outdated. It really does not pertain to anything that we have to do with Medic One. It's more about a startup ambulance coming into our community. I have a feeling it's probably back from the days prior to Medic One. And with state laws the way they are today, I just see there really is no reason to have that outdated ordinance. So just ask for it to be repealed. Chapter 11, building code, contains outdated and contradictory information, and we were recently questioned about that. In the month of July, Benton Harbor Public Safety, through the fire marshal and the building department, code enforcement shut down 3 illegal parties taking place in town. And as part of that, we've been able to deal with these business owners, and one of them tried to use the 1990 code references against us that are in the ordinance. Now, the newer code references are in the ordinance already as well, but the 1990 code references definitely make things a little sticky, and they tried to use them against us. Now, we were able to fight it off, but I think just removing any of those old ordinances just makes more sense.
Didn't we adopt, we adopt the national.
Correct.
We've done that as well, so that supersedes anything we have.
It does, of course, we got jobs lawyers, so we have like reference to VOCA, which hasn't been used since 1996. But it's still in here. So we're trying to go back and say the VOCA says, all those pending. So I just want to make sure it's easy to put it all up. And this is the groundwork, so that's been laid, that we fixed the thing with VOCA.
So in the same, in the fire code, there's no reference to the new code in our fire code, but there is the building code. However, it only lists 1994. So you have to go to the building code to find the fire code, which is kind of backwards. So we just need to move that same language into the fire code as well.
So you want to produce another, work with the ordinances, so a new ordinance with that language and stuff to come back to this committee. To be approved.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we'll come back here.
Come back.
So we'll just bring it back next month.
Once you guys have, so
So,
Now, clerk, is that something you can give me in Word to where I can edit it, or do I need to retype the whole thing?
I'll have to look and see if I have the Word version.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
We should have the Word version of all of the ordinances.
perfect. Yeah, that is easy. That's all I have.
next we have, Bill Bennett, who's the, building inspector in Harbor graduate. He's going to talk about, so we have our permit fees. So right now we're getting, there's tons and tons and tons of work being done in Benton Harbor. It's bringing in a lot of permit fees. Our fees are out of whack with other municipalities in the state of Michigan. So we would like to get our fees kind of commensurated with the going rate and kind of match the state of Michigan. They will always be the most current. So that's-
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm proposing a rate increase for permit fees to get us more aligned with other surrounding communities and help generate a revenue stream for the department as well. In doing that, I'd like to also reduce the plan review fee for everybody from 65% to 35%. Because with these increased fees, it will keep our plan review aligned also with the other surrounding communities. So I have a copy here. I made some notes on the top of it, so forgive me for that copy written on, but those are the fees that I'm suggesting.
will this document go out to,
That would go in chapter 11 as well with the building like it is now and just be updated with everything.
What's the approximate rate increase?
So our cheapest right now is a $15 permit. So it's a substantial increase from where we're at, but we haven't updated our costs since 2012. So we're a little behind.
so will this document be sent out? Well, there's a lot of questions.
Well, you guys are the only ones privy to that, so maybe
Yeah, but I'm
it's
saying,
the
is
question.
this, will this be sent out so that the whole commission will get an opportunity to see this? When will this document, are you proposing, because are you asking us to send this to the commission for approval before it's seen?
Let's do this.
So let's back it up.
Yeah, let's back up. So, Alex is responsible for that. I should have given you the report that we gave you for chapter 7 of 17. So can we also move this to next month?
Yeah,
We'll get you
yes.
the report
Yeah,
right,
that would be
ahead
better.
of time to kind of outline and lay groundwork on why.
That would help, kind of like,
Yes,
ask questions and that, I couldn't say,
I'm sorry.
We're gonna move
I
back
dropped
to
the
the
ball
full
on that.
commission.
So, obviously, and I didn't. That's on me.
I'll ask questions.
Law, the chief, I'd like to get together with you on this. Look at, the development fees for larger developments like projects, housing projects and so forth. And we're getting moving because they're way out of alignment. And these bigger projects, when you're talking about a 15, 28, $25 million project, there's a series of things that needs to shape over that we should incorporate. I believe right now we've got a $400 application fee, something like a $1,200 or $1,400 escrow. And escrow probably needs to be $10,000. Right. Yeah.
That's great.
So we'll get the other.
So they'll all come back next month with the attachments and
Yes,
the language and that kind of thing. That'll be great. Question from the audience.
I just wanted to say that planning commission fees should be looked at and part of this adjustment, as Mr. Little said, was charging $400 for a site plan review. And that amount was established with the zoning ordinance in 2012. So no one's looked at any of that.
So Rich, just to be clear, are you saying that they're high or low?
I think they're low, and the escrow at 1,200 is low because pretty much to talk to a lawyer for 10 minutes and you're already at $500. So, we want to make sure that we can have the resources we need when we do our reviews. If we need to ask a professional to review a site plan with us for, compliance.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions for me?
Oh, yes, I want to feedback on what Director McGinnis said about the Construction Board of Appeals. I was on that board for 10 years. Didn't have one meeting. One meeting. I asked Dr. Cook, since I was the last member on the board, to take me off. And that was 2008. So I'm trying to figure out what's the urgency. I know it's an important board, but if it was so important, why making for so long? So my question to you is, why is it so needed now? I mean, what is the real importance of it? Because back then it must not have been important. And who put me on the board was the late Charles Yarborough in 1998. So now you're saying that you need to be filled ASAP?
Because we're doing work.
Yeah, there's a lot of construction projects going on, so if there's any issues, you need to be able to have meetings about work and stuff that people are doing, if there's any challenges or to what's being done, so that's the importance of it now.
Okay, now, I'm a carpenter by trade, certified in 50 states, plus the country county. The late Charles Yarborough came to me because of that. I got all kinds of experience. Used to work it as code enforcement in that department. So I would like to, reapply on that board.
Ms. Moore has the applications, so all appointments to any boards go through this committee. You have to submit an application with her.
No problem.
And then it'll go through the same process.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Just out of transparency, and I've said this before publicly, we haven't been doing things very well for a while for compliance, trying to fix those things. So, I mean, with all the construction we have, actually, the things that he mentioned probably could have or should have came before the construction board for people that are being local versus IMPC. So we're trying to get things in place that have not been. We acknowledge that's the case. They take our lumps for it, but we're trying to fix it now.
Appreciate it.
I might add that we're urgently needing it in order to try and effectively proceed with some of our programs like demolition. If we cite a property for being dilapidated and not being done in the in order to repair it, bring it up to code or whatever, if they fail to do so, their right of redress is to go before that board first, or else you wind up going to the court system. And that helps us shorten the process so we can start doing some effective demolition of other enforcement areas.
So on this board, you need some people that have some expertise in different kinds of construction matters. So it's important, this is why it's probably been emphasis.
The last time I had people were appointed to us, 2015. Chris Cook was one. Another gentleman that we actually got action. I think there's not that was last one. It's important.
Is there a residency requirement for the construction board?
There are 4 different requirements. 2 of them are residents, 2 of them are non-residents. I think 2 of them are nonprofit representatives,
think it says very loosely, you have to have some type of experience in construction.
Is there any other questions on this particular item or items before we move to final? All right, here, the last item, is there anything else that you guys wanted to add, Chief, other than you'll be back next month?
Yes, ma'am. No, nothing else there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Last item on the agenda is the discussion about social districts. People, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Right.
Come on.
Next time, I catch you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to come before you guys again with the discussion of the social district. I am Audrey Peoples, a member of the Benton Harbor Arts Association. I also like to recognize we have some members of the Arts Board here in support of this initiative. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I think everyone has kind of a presentation of kind of what it is. We laid out when I first came here, which is more of a discussion. I really kind of didn't have the materials. And so we have formed a committee. We would love to present the most viable plan that we can to accommodate something that we feel is kind of really important for the advancement of downtown Benton Harbor. We're proposing to put this in the Arts District. Right now, the parameters are, we engulf everybody, but right now the parameters are kind of spelled out. I've also kind of introduced just some other districts that are in Michigan. There's like over 100 social districts, one being right over the bridge in St. Joe. And so notwithstanding comparing ourselves to other districts, I would like to think that we can set ourselves apart and maybe become, even more representative of what a social district can be. Right now, we've got listed the participating licensed businesses: Hawks Nest, Mason Jar, Brick House, Animal Houndstooth, Pipestone, Indoor Country Club, which is like right across the street from my cafe, and Delivery. And here's a map here of where we're proposing. So it is kind of a wide swath, but it really kind of does encompass what we kind of consider the Arts District. It includes Houndstooth, which would border Wall Street, Mason Jar, and then the Country Club, I believe, is at 4th Street. We do want to cross the street to include Houndstooth. So everything behind the Houndstooth, right across the street to the Dwight Park, and then it's kind of, you can see it's the parameters that we're looking for. What we also want to do is, just make sure that we can, form a good relationship and a partnership with the city of Benton Harbor. I haven't looked at the master plan, but I understand that there is possibly like a social district being proposed. We would love to be able to, work a relationship with all of that we possibly can. We've kind of discussed, the Arts Board has discussed, what we would need to do on our part. I even believe the last time that we met, Commissioner Henry had mentioned what we're gonna do with these cups, is there a recycle? So we've even discussed a recycle plan for the cups that would be designated. But I think that it's important, hopefully, that we can, move forward with this. And the sooner the better. I don't necessarily know, if we have to go through any other measures before it goes before the full board, or if there's more questions that need to be asked that we can address maybe in another discussion. I have been working on this. Most of what I'm seeing, I'm pretty much agreeing with, but I do have some other components that I want to look at. Additional recommendations.
So, looking at just, heard you mention that you had the house to this. I know when we first spoke, again, officially, I have no problem with this as a director of public safety. However, the conversation we had, what I thought was going to be on kind of like that side of Main Street in the Arts District. Houndstooth already have difficulty parking. They're parking in the city center. there's not really much room. We have an apartment building there, people who kind of complain about their parking spots being taken out to patrons. I've only been there once, I didn't really feel that welcome, but don't have much relationship with them. So I have a little bit of trepidation having a social district on this side of Main Street, with a location that already struggles with space, just simply to park for its patrons. Other than that, I got 100% on.
Okay, all right, thank you, Chief, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do agree, initially, it didn't necessarily encompass, but after discussion, House Two being one of the licensed holders, and we do consider them part of the Arts District, even though they are across Main Street, was included in this map, in the proposed map.
So I guess where were their section of parking for their district?
The
sidewalk in the alley, chief. Sidewalk now.
As I indicated, I will have some additional work on this to do it. We'll bring this back in.
So it should go to, again, to the Planning and Economic Development Committee, again. And just for my comments, I agree, I've seen the one in St. Joe, so I think it's something that will help our downtown grow. Like the chief, though, if there is some concerns with people walking across the street to where the house is, there may be, and I think there was some discussion about liability the last time we had this discussion in terms of what the city of Benton Harbor will be liable for in terms of somebody got hurt, the patrolling, the social districts, or questions that come up that I'm not sure about. And so like Mr. Little said, we definitely support doing something like this in the city of Benton Harbor. It'll only help it grow. But I'm just figuring out all of the minutia and all of the little details about how to make that happen. That's what we definitely need to do. Mr. Little, did you have any more?
No, nothing more this time. We'll be doing some additional work on it and bringing it back to planning and economic development to discuss.
Just kind of piggyback on what everyone is saying. I think it's a great idea for the city of Benton Harbor. The whole house too does kind of throw me for a loop because you have that big Main Street in there, so you're walking across Main. So I don't know, but again, I don't want to necessarily exclude anyone, but it just seems a bit odd. But we'll see what Mr. Little comes up with. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the time is from Sunday through Monday, no Friday or Saturday, nothing like that, you're saying?
No. Yes.
Would say open
It
for
should, yeah, it's
operation
definitely the weekend.
Sunday through Monday.
Monday through Sunday.
Yeah, Monday, Sunday.
Oh, okay. The way it looks, operation Sunday through Monday. Okay.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
Oh,
But
okay,
it should be.
And you'll supply trash cans so it's them days they have it. The city do need more trash cans throughout the city in downtown too, so, and they have special cups with.
Right, yeah, they would have special designated cups, and each business would have their sticker
Oh,
that would be applied to the cup. And I'm sure we could work out temporary receptacles, not only for people who don't necessarily keep their cups, so they could throw that into a separate bin that we could take to a recycling plant, and then other receptacles for garbage.
I think it's a good idea. You know, I was in Muskegon and I seen people walking around. I wasn't aware of what a social district was, but they was walking around. So, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I went and got me a little cup. Walking around. Yeah. So, but I think it's a good idea. You know, people want to get out. You know, especially after the pandemic and all that, and our great downtown is starting to blossom. So yeah. I can support this.
Last thing, Madam Chair, I don't believe, I think that's the reason on that. I don't believe that city social district, remember Main Street is a state road, it's not ours. I don't think we can cross that or have it that close to it. So I think there would need to be some research there, but now you can restate it and say, okay, we have to give you permission, or we have to get permission from them. That could be, they might not allow it at all. It was like schools junkie, we don't know. So,
Chief, can I answer your question a little bit?
sure.
City of St. Joe crosses, the social district crosses the main road. And the city of Muskegon also crosses US 31. So,
Which road is it across? In St. Joe.
Main Street. It crosses over to 221 and the marketplace. They have it marked on the sidewalk, you can cross over to 221. So I don't know if it requires a permit, that's part of the research, but I do know those two places in my research for this included going across the main
Shepherd,
street.
when we come back with it, we'll cover it all.
We'll be back in the morning.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you for your discussion. Oh, thank you. Is there any other questions about the social district that people may have or comments?
Just like to ask Commissioner Isom with that cup.
We'll have a special.
We talked about it. Is it plastic?
Yes, they'll be plastic cups with tops. Okay. We
That's
just,
not environmental safe, plastic.
people use them in restaurants.
Well, You don't need to be saying it because you gave me the floor. So you shouldn't be saying nothing but listen to what I got to say.
My apologies.
Thank you, sir, ma'am. Plastic is the worst thing, stuff that this man has made.
Worse than alcohol?
And our recycling is going to ask the city to ban plastic anything because it's environmental unsafe. It's a danger. And Google it so you'll know. If you do better, if you know better, you do better. So here's the time for us to start doing things in the right manner. Just like inspection department said, yes, we've been and not taking care of it, but we're gonna do it. And that's what we have to do now. Look forward to the future. Your great grandkids will thank you for it. So my idea is for them to come up with anything other than plastic. There's a lot of stuff on the market and we need to be more innovative. This is 2023. We don't have to do things like we were in 1950.
Thank you, ma'am. I think that is, does anybody have any questions about anything that was on your conference? One question. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
They're gonna put more. All right. Business.
All the-
I